Hi, thanks for watching BibleMountain.com. The world wants us to believe there's no such thing as an objective moral standard. That means the world is denying the existence of sin. Now, Exodus 29 tells us a sin offering was part of the process to ordain Aaron and his sons as priests. The fact there was such a thing as a sin offering tells us there is such a thing as sin. Likewise, 1 Corinthians 15 tells us Christ died for our sins. The fact that Christ died for sins tells us there is such a thing as sin. And the fact that he died for our sins tells us we are sinners. And so when we look at this all together, we need to realize sin is real and we need to take sin seriously. Let's take a look at this starting in Exodus 29. The context of this is God has the Israelites at Mount Sinai. He is giving them the Mosaic Law. In these verses, God was telling Moses the process he was supposed to use to ordain Aaron and his sons as the priests. In these verses particularly, God was telling Moses about the sin offering. So let's get started at verse 10. Then you shall bring the bull before the tent of meeting, and Aaron and his sons shall lay their hands on the head of the bull. You shall slaughter the bull before Yahweh at the doorway of the tent of meeting. You shall take some of the blood of the bull and put it on the horns of the altar with your finger, and you shall pour out all the blood at the base of the altar. You shall take all the fat that covers the entrails and the lobe of the liver, and the 2 kidneys and the fat that is on them, and offer them up in smoke on the altar. But the flesh of the bull and its hide and its refuse you shall burn with fire outside the camp. It is a sin offering. Notice the phrase, lay their hands. Aaron and his sons were supposed to lay their hands on the head of the bull. By laying their hands on the head of the bull, they were establishing a connection between Aaron and his sons and the bull, and they were transferring their sins onto the bull, so that when the bull was sacrificed, it was identified as being a sacrifice for the sins of Aaron and his sons. Notice the reference to the blood. Without the shedding of blood, there is no remission of sins. So it was important for the blood to be part of the ceremony because the blood needed to be shed in order to be a sin offering. And notice the flesh of the bull was taken outside the camp. Sin is unclean, and unclean things were taken outside the camp. So it makes sense that the flesh of the bull of the sin offering was burned outside the camp, because anything unclean should be taken outside the camp. And at the very end, we see a reference to the sin offering. This tells us very clearly that this bull was a sin offering. And again, the fact that there was a sin offering tells us there is such a thing as sin. Now let's take a look at 1 Corinthians 15, verse 3. For I delivered to you as of first importance what I also received, that Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, and that he was buried, and that he was raised on the 3rd day according to the Scriptures. Notice again the word sins. This tells us Christ died for our sins. The fact that Christ died for sins tells us there is such a thing as sin. The fact that he died for our sins tells us we are sinners. And so again, the world wants us to believe there is no such thing as an objective moral standard. And when the world claims that, they are essentially denying the existence of sin. However, we see in Exodus 29 that part of Aaron's ordination process was a sin offering. The fact that there was such a thing as a sin offering tells us there was such a thing as sin. Likewise, 1 Corinthians 15 tells us Christ died for our sins. The fact that he died for sins tells us sin is real. The fact that he died for our sins tells us we are sinners. And so we must come to the conclusion that sin exists, sin is real, and we need to take sin very seriously. If you haven't joined my email list yet, please do so. First of all, it is free. By signing up, you get immediate access to all my free content. It'll be delivered right to your email inbox. This is the best way to make sure you don't miss out on any of my free content. In order to sign up, go to BibleMountain.com, click on follow. There will be a place there to enter your email address. Once again, thank you for watching BibleMountain.com.